Hello there. How's it going, everybody? If you see me looking down, I am looking at the chat, and I don't know if it's coming across well or not, but I'm just going to let you know that I am getting over a bit of a cold. So if I sound bad or I'm coughing or I just sound all out nasty, I apologize now, but I'd rather get it out of the way now than deal with it during the season. So what's up? What do you got? What would you like to talk about? There's totally nothing to talk about tonight. Yes, I do have a beard. It will not be lasting very much longer. I've had this for like 4 months now, and I'm getting sick of it. I am getting sick of it. All right, I got that up there. I mean, there's a lot I guess we can look at really quick. I wanted to talk to you guys and thank you guys. God, I swear. I wanted to thank you guys because we currently are sitting 71 subscribers away from 70,000 subscribers. So thank you all very much for that. I appreciate all the support. And there's a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not keeping the beard this time. I will not cave to public opinion on this one. But yeah, we are well on our way to 70K. Hey, what's up, Eric? How's it going? But I wanted to lead off with that just to thank you guys because a lot of people I know have come on over the winter, and it's really cool to see all y'all come in. No, I will not be shaving the beard on stream. That is also, I mean, I don't know. It would have to take a lot. I don't know what it would take, but it would take a lot. I will never say never, but the closest thing to never. I guess we should probably roll into what the first real big point that's come across, I think, everybody's news waves today is the SRX. The SRX is, at least for now, no more. From what it looks like, the SRX will be at least postponed for 2024. I don't know if it'll be any more than that. I mean, I have what they put out right here. I have their statement right here. And it looks like at the moment they're saying for the fourth season, but I feel like we're kind of, you can kind of read the writing on the wall on this of the SRX. I don't think it's coming back personally, especially when we have the news of IROC filling a very similar space. Ray Evernham there, and then you have Tony Stewart on the SRX side, who I feel like has been pulling out of a lot of the stuff he's doing, being very I don't think narrow-sighted is the right way to put it, but being very particular, I think, with what he wants to do with his post-NASCAR career. And you have to think too, I mean, he's picking up for his wife right now on the NHRA side, so he's going to be busy with the racing side. So I do not think it's coming back. For me, I think I look like a Midwest millennial. I'm not a millennial, but I was from the Midwest. And thank you, NASCAR Fanatic, for the 2. With IROC returning, could they buy out SRX? I don't even think they have to buy it out. I think they probably will fill the space. I think the big problem that the SRX had is that it really, after the first season, had no identity. I think that was the problem. Because the first season, I felt like they did have that identity. They wanted to be more of like a short track version of what IROC was. Bring people from different disciplines. Have what I think was my favorite part of the SRX was have that hometown hero come in. But it really just felt like seasons 2 and especially 3 was just trying to make it NASCAR light. And if people want to watch NASCAR, they're going to watch NASCAR. And I think that's where you start running into issues. low car counts. There was no real identity. And I would say after the first season, there was nothing really defining it all that much. Like, yeah, you had, like Napa Racing fan points out, you had the Thursday Night Thunder and you had the member berries for everybody that were coming back. But other than that, I mean, I think the racing had gotten better over time, but that alone is not going to make a series survive. And it especially, I have it somewhere. I have the viewership of it somewhere in here. I have a million notes. I mean, looking at the first season, every single race on CBS had over 1 million people watching. They averaged 1 million, but 20% off the year before in 2022. And then right until the end, they were under 400,000 on ESPN on Thursday night, averaged, I believe, 500,000, if not less, down 50 or so % from the year before. They definitely put a spotlight, I think, on tracks that fans nationwide probably should have known better, and the short track scene. So I think that might be a defining piece of it. I think a lot of fans learned about great tracks, like Stafford, as well as others, but it just it didn't feel like they had anything that really defined it they could rally around. I think my favorite moment personally of the SRX was, granted, I was in person at this one with a lot of friends, but the 2021 Nashville Fairgrounds race. Love that track. But they had Chase and Bill Elliott against each other. And I wish I should have put it in OBS before. But I didn't think about it because I didn't think this news was going to break right away. But I got this really cool picture from it. If I can find it. Yeah, and it did the rounds on social media and the story of it and all. Let me make sure that I have this right. But I got a picture of Chase and Bill Elliott at Nashville Fairgrounds in, I believe, turn 3. This turn 3. And it was an awesome moment. I mean, it's something that you're never gonna probably see again in any other series. Other than the SRX, but it's just, there's only so much you can do with it without upping the car count, without getting flashy things, and I think that's just a huge issue with it. Great picture quality, shot on iPhone. It was a great moment. I mean, it really was, and there was, I believe, 15,000 seats that were sold out at Nashville Fairgrounds. There was standing room only. The entire infield was packed. I mean, it was an amazing experience to be at, and from what it looked like on TV. Plus, it was pretty cool because both Nashville races, one way or another, I ended up on TV, so that was cool. Got to meet Darrell Waltrip, stuff like that. But great moments. But it does suck. I'm gonna put a poll on this for you guys. I want to know what y'all think of it. Will you miss the SRX? And I guess if so, how much? So yes, a lot. If I can spell. They don't need me to spell that much. Yes, a little. Meh. And not at all. Because I know a lot of people had different views of the SRX in different ways. It's one thing for me that it's really going to. I think one thing for me is that's really going to show why the SRX is going to be missed this year, though, is I'm looking at the July-August calendar in that area where NASCAR's off. And there's a bit of racing going on those weeks, because this is post Brickyard 400. The weekend after, you have Salem Arca, and there's an F1 race on. as well as if you're more into the late model scene, Cars Tour is at Hickory. And then the weekend after that, or the week after that, there's another ARCA race. But outside of that, there's only one major, like, and when I say major, there's no disrespect to Cars Tour or to ARCA, but you really only have one majorly known motorsport race on in that basically 3-week span after the Brickyard. So you're definitely gonna have that emptiness there, I think. I will say I'm wondering if part of it was what was a sponsor maybe pulling out too, or just tracks couldn't nail down dates. Maybe it's something like that, but it sucks. It sucks. Whether you'll miss it or not. I mean, I'm looking right now, and definitely the majority will, from what it looks like with the poll. Though there is still a very large amount of you guys who, couldn't care less. But we'll keep going off of that. There's so much more going on right now. I see Dustin in the chat here saying that Kyle Larson just raced his heat race in the Chili Bowl. That's going on right now, so definitely check that out. But there's so much other stuff going on. Really quick, a reminder, this will be the last stream of the off season until the end of January 31st, NASCAR Weekly Podcast on my channel. Tons of cool stuff lined up this year. We got new different, what's the word, segments, new segments coming. We have probably, I would assume, I will not tell you guys though, we do have more guests. We have more things to get you guys all involved. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun heading into February. A very busy February for this channel as well. I'll be doing stuff with IDK Player on the iRacing side in February for Daytona. And of course, the post-race streams will be coming back. Maybe I'll try and revamp them a little bit, make them a little better. But we got a lot of good stuff coming up. I see a lot of you guys are happy and excited in the chat. So I just wanted to remind you guys about that right now. Yeah, I think we can get Slap back on. I don't see why not. Let's see. Why did the 05 Chicagoland race watch along get taken down? I mean, it was just awful. I don't know what happened, but everything that could go wrong did go wrong in that stream, and it was just awful. And I wanted to take it down because it was bad. You could barely hear me. I don't know. It's just I fixed a few issues on OBS side that caused it, and it seems like we're doing good now. But it was an entire OBS thing, and it was not fun. It was not fun. Now Crash the Hedgehog for 5 says, what do you think of Legacy Motor Club's major changes into 2024? Personally, I'm hyped. I expect good things from them. I think the big thing is the new Toyota Camry. I think, by the way, I think we can get David Land. The new Camry, I think, is going to be the X factor of this whole deal. They had talked about being, I think, a third-tier team at Chevrolet. And, it's the results, especially last year, really proved that. I will say, though, they were damn fast in 2022 at times and could not capitalize on it. They brought great cars. And if they were the tier 3 team at that point, damn, they got a lot of good people there. And I hope they didn't get rid of all of them. But as for Legacy in general, I think if they can get their arms around the Camry really quickly, then I think that they're going to be just fine. I think that Eric Jones is the biggest mystery driver heading into 2024. I think that, I did not pick him at the moment to make the playoffs because I do want to see first what Legacy can do. If they, go out the first half of the regular season and completely crap the bed, then okay, I'm good that I didn't take that extra risk. But I could totally see them coming out and just excelling. I think a place to watch them at is Kansas, just because, for one, that team has been quick before, and those drivers have been quick before at intermediates. But two, Toyota just has their arms around Kansas. I love going to Kansas. I think it puts on some of the best races of the year with the next gen. I have been at all but one Kansas race since this new car was implemented. I implore all of you, if you can, go to a Kansas race now because it's about the best it's ever been. But the Toyotas have the advantage. And then you got the sponsorship talking about Dollar Tree, Family. There's so many damn dollar stores, but they got the dollars. For every event, one of the two cars will have one of the dollars on it. And I think having that sponsorship too. I mean, we saw when Focus Factor had pulled their support. We saw the issues. Family Dollar. There's so many damn dollars. Let's be real. Like the way it is nowadays with inflation, it's probably like Family $5. And then, like Blue Jimmy said, Jimmy's going to be at Dover. I did not know he's going to be at Dover when I made the prediction. I'm still pretty confident that Jimmy isn't going to be all that great. But I'll say if you're a Jimmy fan, go see him. I went and saw Junior when he came back for Xfinity races, and it was well worth it. But I do think this team has incredible upside. I think it has the most upside going into 2024. Because there's so much that, if it works out, will vastly improve how they stand among the other teams. You're not going to see another Furniture Row situation, Levine situation, because they're not attached to the hip to JGR the way that those teams were. So that's something I think it's a positive. I think it's just good moves all around. Good long-term and good stability moves that I think every team should be aiming for. Alex, thank you for the 5. Are you going to the Indy 500 this year? I am looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it as well, especially having the vested interest with Kyle Larson. I don't know. I mean, I only live like, if I allegedly went a few miles an hour over the speed limit, I could make it to Indianapolis in 4 hours. I could depending on how long the race goes in the traffic, I could probably go to Indianapolis and then drive back home and watch the last 300 laps of the Coke 600. So I am tempted. From what I've heard, seems like it's going to be a pretty big crowd. There's a lot of excitement around it. It is probably the most excited I have been for an Indy 500 just because of the double and the Larson connection and all that. I have made no secret whatsoever that I think Kyle Larson currently is one of, if not the most talented drivers on earth. So it intrigues me of what he'll do, and I know that this is very much a possibly once in a generation opportunity to see somebody so high profile in this race. He's still got to make the race. I don't want to jump that far to conclusions. He still has to make the race, but I'm interested, man. I am really interested in going, and I might. I don't know yet. If not, we'll probably do something on this channel about it, because while we are a NASCAR channel and we do have the NASCAR connection there, it's a pretty cool opportunity in general with it. Really quick, before I read your super chat, Beast of Metal, but thank you, by the way, for that $10 super chat. The poll went here as 38% missing SRX a little, 36% of you are going to miss it a lot, 17% went meh, and 7% said not at all. So that is a, let's see, 24% saying not really all that much, and hold on. Did I do my math right? I swear. Let's see. That'd be a 74%. The math ain't mathing a little bit, unless I'm just an idiot. Beast of Metal, though, thank you for the 10. I know people were debating on NASCAR and NBC theme songs a while back. I think for 2024, they should do Face to the Floor by Chevelle. Good rhythm and lyrics relevant to modern NASCAR. Thoughts on or other songs? I think that'd be a really good one. I don't know if NBC would go for it, but I totally would. I've seen Chevelle in person play that song, and there's a great energy with it. I think that would be a good one. What do you guys think? Leave me some in the chat. What are some songs you think would be good for NBC this year? Real Gone would be Zoomer nostalgia. I feel like you still got to get that grit, like and I guess you don't have to, but I would prefer it. There's most of the time I prefer it, like with Fuel. I love that one. I'm in the minority on this, but I loved the ZZ Ward Running Down a Dream. And they had that one dude that did that like kind of slower song. He was, the bigger dude, and and I'd made a, granted it's probably not the greatest joke, but I made a joke saying like, man, we had this like awesome pump you up song with all these different NASCAR legends and a really pretty girl singing this song, and now we got some greasy fat guy singing really slow like to lead us in. That's getting me into NASCAR. But I would go to that. Looking at some of the ones you guys got in the chat, Hinder's good. I think that one's just the way they did that song is so dated. And I love that era of music. Like I love that, pop punk kind of era, but Linkin Park, Points of Authority, that'd be good. Let's see. I think the Browns and Lions Super Bowl is more likely. Lions are frauds. They're just like the Vikings last year. Best of luck. Best of luck on that. I really quick, my Super Bowl prediction going into the playoffs is Ravens Niners. I think those two teams are on another level. Let's see. Bad to the Bone, that's a good one. Kickstart. Let's say I saw a Kickstart my heart earlier. Highway Star, Shut Up and Drive. I mean, when Rihanna back in like the early 2000s when ESPN came on, Shut Up and Drive was one of the 2 or 3 main theme songs along with Aerosmith and their own that ESPN had. Fuel, Born for This. What's up, Maloney Burger? # greasy fat guys. Oh man. Let's see. Alex sent a super chat with an idea. Greta Van Fleet doing a cover of Highway Star. Well, they do got a Highway tune. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I mean, I feel like if they did it in kind of like a Zeppelin style, like as much as they deny it, they're basically a Zeppelin, like mini Zeppelin, a Zeppelin Junior. I feel like that would be pretty good. Rats by Ghost, Seven Nation Army. What's the one I've been listening to lately? Because that might be an idea. I'm just thinking, because they always do so many old songs, and I like old songs. I think like the average release year of all of my songs on my phone is like 92, which is not necessarily old, but well, I guess. But yeah, I feel like you got to do something. You either have to do a new one for each race, or one that's newer. I mean, if you really wanted to buy into what people are getting back into, you should have like one of them with Creed opening up. Can you take me higher? I mean, I think that'd be good. Hell, if you really, I'm looking back at the different songs I have on my phone. I'm like, maybe we can't use most of these. But there'd be a lot of good ones. I do feel like they need to change it up. I do feel like they need to have some kind of identity. I know they had their own NBC theme back, 2015 and in the early years of the contract. But they need something the way that they had like the 04 to 06 opening when it was on NBC and TNT. I think that'd be a good one. Andrew Meyer, I like this one. If Auto Club was still around, California Love would be dope as hell. Well, I mean, if Auto Club does come back, I think if Auto Club does come back, they're going to make it the finale because they need that California market so bad. At some point, it's going to be in the rotation. It's an ISC track. They're, short track, and they're pushing that. and Need for Speed is going after my heart with Backcountry. Love me some Avenged Sevenfold. But I feel like you could do that. You could do that, man. As for the Auto Club stuff, I know I had to take down my Auto Club video just because there's a lot of iffy stuff. And I don't know the whole 9 yards of it, but all I know is that there's just some issues there, and they're not giving that timetable that you would assume they'd give, and I'm worried about Auto Club because it's so difficult, especially with the economy the way it is now, but it's so difficult in California to be able to build, and it's so expensive right now. It worries me that it's going to sit as a ripped up track. Everything's going to build up around it, and they're going to want the last 100 acres or whatever it is left and want that. That's my worry with Auto Club on that one. Mr. Penguin for 5, do you see Trackhouse starting an Xfinity Series or Truck Series team in the future with all the drivers you're signing? Maybe. I know that I think SVG is driving with Colleague, so maybe they'll have a alliance with Colleague. I think it would be good for them in the future to do so, but they also could just be partnered up with different Chevy teams through the ranks, so they don't have to necessarily put in all of the money and assets into it. They don't necessarily have to at the moment, but I do think down the road, especially if it's profitable, they should. But from what it sounds like, they're probably not going to. NASCAR Fanatic, thank you for the 2. Are you going to any local short tracks? I want to make it to the fairgrounds at least once. I did some pit reporting there in October. And if I ever had the opportunity again and it fits scheduling and all that, I would love to do that again. But it's going to be difficult. Usually I would go to the Rockford Speedway, but that is update on the Rockford Speedway. I'll just give it to you now. Nothing has been dug up really in it. It sounds like they're going to build around it. But there's just I was talking with family last night at dinner, and sounds like nothing's really happened. So that sucks. But Nashville Fairgrounds is definitely one. I know Danny V Talks, he wants to take me, and Darian and John, IDK player, wants to take us out to Tazewell Speedway at some point. And he showed me pictures. It looks pretty badass. So I'd be down to. Getting over this cold. I've still been working out through it. I've lost 15 pounds in 11 days, so I'm ready to get rid of this. I keep coughing crap up, and it's disgusting. But when it comes to the short track stuff, it's really, I have to know closer to it. I should probably just see what Slap's doing and see if I can piggyback off him for a bit. And David Bell, thank you for the membership. I appreciate it. I should probably stream more during the off season so we don't have these issues of people losing memberships. So I appreciate it very much. And really quick to update you guys, we are 68 now. 68 away from 70K, so that's pretty cool. Oh, man. I was really sick towards the end of last year. Now, looking at some other stuff, IROC coming back. I saw some people asking where I think that IROC would have a race. I don't know necessarily because there's so few details on what Ray Evernham wants to do and stuff like that. So for me, I am always a proponent of going to older, worn out tracks. If you wanted to go for the member berries, but not necessarily growing the brand out to a new generation and audience, I'd say maybe like in North Wilkesboro. If you want a bit bigger of a track, Rockingham, that would be a good one, I think. God, sorry. If I sound gross, I apologize. I'm biased. I'll say Chicagoland. But I don't know why. I just keep coming back to Michigan. I don't know why. I don't think they should take it to a super speedway, especially if they're going to use the old cars. Like, no, do not make it even more of a chance that one of them might get destroyed. But the thing for me is that if you're going to have all of these champions come in from different series, I want it to be all in. I think that's a big problem I talked about earlier I had with the SRX is they went all in on following NASCAR, and that's nice for getting NASCAR drivers to come and getting crowds that might come a day early for the NASCAR races, but it's not going to bring in, the IndyCar crowd. It's not going to bring in the dirt crowd, the late model crowd. So for me, if they need to go all in on multiple series, on making the biggest, grandest thing you can. And I think going with one race this year might be the good move. One exhibition race, bring in as many champions and major drivers of the modern day as you can, and then maybe fill it in with some older drivers, and go from there. But, kind of like Milton said, you can't out NASCAR. And that was part of the problem that IROC had at the end, is it tried just being little NASCAR. You need to be your own thing. If you're trying to be something else, and we've seen NASCAR do this, trying to be a stick and ball sport with different changes at times, it doesn't work. At least not with the motorsport fans. So that's kind of where I am with it. I'm excited. I remember watching the last few seasons of the IROC series, back in Speed. That was fun. I mean, that's the thing. I want to have fun with this. I don't want to, oh, look, they're letting in the, round of 8 guys from NASCAR and 2 or 3 IndyCar drivers and a World of Outlaw driver. Like, no, I want to see the wildest combination that they can conjure up. And try in some ways to even the field. I know if you're going to do like IROC was, it's going to be difficult to the open wheel drivers in different disciplines will be at disadvantages at different places in different ways. But it's kind of like Andrew Mayer's saying here. Imagine an IROC race coming down to Ryan Blaney and Joseph Newgarden. Like, that's the kind of stuff I want to see. No disrespect to those drivers that were in SRX. I like pretty much all those drivers. But if I wanted to watch Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski race for a win, I'd either watch any, races between them in the last, 15 years, or I'd watch a modern NASCAR race. If I wanted to watch Bill Elliott and Tony Stewart race, I'd watch races from like 1999 to 2003. It's cool in the moment, and it's cool for people who are there to meet those people. I thought it was awesome. I got to meet guys like Castro Neves. I got to meet Paul Tracy multiple times before he did Paul Tracy things. Tony Stewart, Haley Deegan, Ernie Francis Jr. Like, I got to meet a lot of those people. I got to meet Darrell Waltrip. I got to talk to different people that I grew up watching. But that doesn't really translate to a TV audience. I guess if I'm trying to get that across. But that's that's kind of the gist of it that I have with the IROC SRX back and forth. I feel like as much as neither announcement made anything known about the other, it definitely felt like they're connected. I mean, between the Ray Evernham connection, the connection that they're so similar to each other in just ground level, all that. That's kind of where I am with it. It has to be connected, and if IROC succeeds for more than 3 years, say 5, 6, 10, or becomes a thing again, then inevitably there will be the comparisons forever to what SRX did, and where did SRX go wrong, stuff like that. But kind of going back to the NASCAR side here, because we got a lot of NASCAR stuff to talk about, and I don't know if my voice will last. By the way, I appreciate y'all coming in. About 150 of y'all. Click that like button. Let's see if we get to about 100 by the end of the night. Looking at the subscriber side, we are slowly but surely inching our way to that 70K mark. Let's talk about some other news that came out this week, part of the thumbnail. Netflix, the trailer and release date for the new NASCAR Netflix doc, I believe it's Full Speed is what it's called, NASCAR Full Speed, was released January 30th, which is a Tuesday, the day before the NASCAR Weekly podcast comes back for season 7. It looks good. I mean, there's only so much you can take out of a trailer. I believe it's 5 episodes. There's only so much you can take out of it before actually watching it. But I like that it's, I believe, Dale Jr., some people from NASCAR Productions, and those who did The Last Dance are involved with this. And you know what? If it can bring NASCAR to that newer audience, I'm all for it. I don't think it's immediately going to be a Drive to Survive. I hope it's not a carbon copy of Drive to Survive, because I feel like at that point it's going to fall flat to a lot of people who might have watched that. I will say, as a diehard NASCAR fan, do not expect this to be something where you're like, man, I learned a million things and this is exactly how it was. They're probably going to dramatize some stuff. They're probably going to be very basic about stuff so that those new people coming in will learn about NASCAR. But you have good people involved. I will say I do think it's going to be better than the one on USA Network that debuted at like 10 p.m. on a Thursday night against Thursday Night Football. So I am excited about it. Even if it's not my cup of tea, I'm excited. I hope it's something akin to the quarterback documentary they did. It had Pat Mahomes, Marcus Mariota, and Kirk Cousins. And it changed how a lot of people viewed all 3 of those guys, and it humanized them, and it showed during the week, not just the 3 hours you see of them on TV and any press conferences. Like, it showed who they are in some ways. And I hope it does that with NASCAR, so that when those new fans come in that don't know as much about NASCAR but might be interested, well, then you have something that us diehards can like about those drivers in particular. Listen, if we can just have Chase Elliott smile, it already would be better at pushing him out to a general audience than him playing Mad Libs. I don't know if y'all saw that, but Chase Elliott, there was a video of him playing Mad Libs with Hendrick Motorsports, and it was just awkward. It was bad. I mean, it was bad. And so if you're able to do something like that Netflix did for those players on the NASCAR level, I think that would be a slam dunk, because you would learn so much about him. I think the setting of the trailer is my favorite part of all of this, because they took it serious. It wasn't just, Clint Boyer and Darrell Waltrip, oh my God, look at this. No, it was, these guys are doing something that barely anyone else on earth can do that could kill them, and they want to do it. That's badass. Brought Marty Smith, somebody who is very palatable to the kind of normie sports crowd. He's been on ESPN for so long, doing so much more now than NASCAR. Someone that's very likable from what I can tell on social media by pretty much any fan base. I like a lot of it. If Kyle Busch wasn't included, I don't know. I don't want to judge just off of the trailer. Because people start judging, more about Elliott. Like, there's gonna be stuff with Elliott in it. You cannot avoid, even if he's in a down year, the most popular driver in NASCAR. By the way, Skull Vikes too. I like that. And long live NASCAR. Like that too. All right. But I'm excited. I am very excited about this. I think this is gonna be something it's gonna be a long haul. This is not something I think that we're gonna see immediate return on. Do not expect that all of a sudden a bunch of people you're friends with are just going to love NASCAR because this came on. It's going to be something that we'll have to build over time for a couple years. Now, if there's no real change at all in anything after this for 3, 4, 5 years, okay, then that's messed up. There's something wrong here. But kind of like Milton says, no magic bullet, but a good start. I'm excited to see some of the lower level drivers in popularity per se, and maybe not lower level, but not the ones that are like the Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson types, but like a Tyler Reddick. Somebody like him that is a great personality. I've been blessed enough to be able to talk to Tyler Reddick, actually a lot of times. Now that I think about it, and he is always somebody that's very interesting to talk to and very engaging. And he's a great personality that doesn't necessarily get shown by NASCAR or by the broadcast that I think would be very interesting to follow. And wow, Netflix has 247 million subscribers. Good God, man. No money for SRX with ESPN paying Pat McAfee $85 million. But yeah, I mean that's a really big part. And something else, I guess, to keep kind of moving here, talking about expansion stuff like that. Alessandro asks, Jarrett, in your opinion, which country outside of the United States will host a cup race in the near future? I'm going Canada on that one. Canada is just the logical way to go with it. They have a very, maybe not as big as the United States just because of the size of the population, but a very die-hard motorsports base, kind of a cult following, but there is that motorsports culture up there. It's close to the United States. It's not going to cost too much more compared to like if they want to do England or Germany or something like that, or Australia. I think Canada would be a good one. I think Canadian racing fans, especially Canadian NASCAR fans, have been severely underserved by not having a cup race up there. Time and time again, I see it in my analytics. I see it in analytics from people I talk to with different things that they do, whether it's on YouTube or websites, articles, whatever. There's a sizable base in Canada, and NASCAR needs to tap into that. I mean, it's the motorsport and especially sports marketplace in general is increasingly becoming more international. Now, I do not want this to be mixed up in any way. I am not saying that we need to have like half of our races all over the world the way that, Formula One has races in different countries. I'm not saying that at all. And I do not think that NASCAR should change that identity and try and be Formula One. We just talked about that with SRX trying to be NASCAR. But what I do think is if we had maybe not all cup weekends, but 3 or 4 weekends a year where there are international races, like if a truck race up in Canadian Tire or an Xfinity race in Mexico like we used to have, I don't think that's a bad idea. Mexico is another base that's getting bigger. We see NASCAR building in Brazil and the Euro Series and series all over the world. Now, I believe there's certain countries you should and shouldn't go to, but I think starting with Canada and Mexico are very good starts for NASCAR. And I hope that there is a race up in Canada, at least one cup race in 2025. I think that would be awesome just because of how many fans who would normally never get the chance or would have to save up forever to come to the States would get that chance to go. You would introduce an entirely new country to cup racing in person. I love having that happen. And I know logistically it is difficult to have them in different countries. I just think the ones that border the United States, it's a great start to have. Maybe have exhibition races in different countries. Brazil has a very sizable base. You want to do an exhibition race there at some point. Maybe one in Europe at some point, with the Euro Series. I know Australia has a pretty sizable base. There are big bases of NASCAR fans all over the world, nowhere near the United States size, but all over the world. And NASCAR definitely needs to push that direction. And I see a lot of people leaving different countries in there. It's, again, you got to start with the first steps. And I do think they are. I mean, I know, at least from my end, I've heard different things back and forth of like what people in the industry want to do. Not necessarily the decision makers, but just those like thinking, man, a race in Canada would be good. Well, get your passport. Maybe we can do something in Mexico. I think that would be a good start. I mean, it is relatively safe too when it comes to risk of taking that chance. I say go for it, especially Canada #1 on that list. Man, y'all are getting a little rowdy, which reminds me of Rowdy Energy. I don't know if anyone's missed this, but Rowdy Energy is being discontinued, and I believe there is a lawsuit, I think in California, with it because different Rowdy Energy was found to have way too much lead and mercury in them. There will be certain Kyle Busch fans on social media that like to make that their personality that will maybe need to worry a little bit if that's the case. Believe it or not, I do not want to be like Gen X and have way too much lead in my system like they did. Grant that was due to gasoline fumes, but you know, it's the same basis here. I don't like having lead in my system, or mercury, either. Even though I do like eating fish. Which reminds me, I'm gonna poll you guys at the end of this on what I should have for dinner tonight because I don't know what to choose, and all of it sounds good, and I need somebody else to be a decision maker for me for one night. I tried Rowdy once. I had like 3 of them over the span of a week. I couldn't do it. I wanted to support NASCAR, support Kyle Busch with that, but yeah, it just didn't do it for me, man. I don't know what it was. It just did not do it for me, though. I felt like the taste was too watered down at times or too strong at times. And some of them like would leave like a weird kind of like filmy feel on my teeth, and some people liked it. Wasn't my cup of tea. But yeah, I've gotten rid of energy drinks as well out of my diet. I've actually gotten rid of energy drinks and alcohol and pretty much all sugars. That's again why plus between the 2 to 3 hours a day working out and running, you guys, majority of you didn't have a New Year's resolution based on the poll before the show. My New Year's resolution, I've stuck to it, and I'm doing pretty damn well right now. I've cut all that stuff out. I don't know. How many of y'all have tried AMP? Because I used to drink AMP when when I was a teenager, just because Dale Jr. had it, and I was dumb. And I would drink it when I was on the road for like 12, 18 hours when I was like driving to races, doing stuff work-wise. All I'm going to say is this. When you go to the bathroom, it'll like glow in the dark. It's gross. It's like, think of Mountain Dew, but way too much ginseng and way too much sugar. I regret drinking it now. I'm going to stick with water. But I always wanted to try Stacker Energy. Wasn't that a fat loss thing? Like, I know Stacker 2 at least, but I mean I remember seeing that on cars when I was like 5, 6 or so 20 years ago. So to me, New Year's resolutions are stupid as no nut. I don't know. Listen, I think New Year's resolutions are stupid when people aren't all in on it. I've been wanting to get healthy. I'm all in on it, and I've done this before. They're only dumb when people don't take it serious. Because if you do it any other day of the year, then it's just a goal. Like that's all it is. It's just a goal. It's not New Year's resolution any other day of the year. It's to me, a New Year's resolution is just making a goal and having like a specific starting date is all. I don't judge people who do them. I don't normally do them, but yeah. Have I tried Mountain Dew energy drink? Isn't that just AMP? I know they have the AMP Mountain Dew energy. And my New Year's resolutions are just to survive. I feel that. But I do want to finish off a couple more things, and then we'll get on out of here. Just an update. We are now 62 away from 70K, so that's pretty cool. Oh, Kickstart. No, I haven't tried Kickstart. So let's. Oh yeah, I mean, Chrome Diesel in the chat. Thanks to so-called fans who have the attention span of a goldfish, stage cautions are returning at road courses. Listen, I think the thing that pisses me off about that is NASCAR's like, basically washing their hands like, we tried it, y'all didn't like it. Well, it's like, if NASCAR didn't put out such a piss poor product at the road courses because of the problems they made with their car, we wouldn't have these issues. That's my problem with that. If we had the Gen 6 back at the road courses and short tracks, and you took stage cautions away, we would not have these issues. It would be, I would think, a lot more entertaining, especially with what's on the line, especially if they were to implement rain tires or any of that in those kind of situations. I hate the fact that it's like, well, the racing wasn't all that good. Well, whose fault is that? That's where I get just irked with. It's kind of like the aero changes that NASCAR keeps making. It's like, well, when you when you don't fix the core issues, of course it's not going to be as good. Obviously. Like, I'm not breaking new ground here. But this whole half-assing these changes between aero changes that we pretty much all know aren't going to work, and changing the stage stuff back to the way it was pre-last year at road courses, the way they did with the Roval. Like, it's clear as day NASCAR just wants to bunch them back up and like hope there's like maybe a wreck or two or something, or just some action. Like, it irks me, man. Like, I loved road course racing pre-stage racing. And it's true. Timmy Wolf, it's 100% true. I've been saying this since I got on YouTube in 2018. Stage yellows are just phantom debris cautions rebranded. Now we have an excuse to throw them so fans won't be as pissed about it. And we can all have our roundabout ways that we'll try and justify it, but it's true. I mean, it's true. I hate it. Can Harvick improve Fox's coverage in 2024? I damn well hope so, man. Yes, there we go. Slap, you're on my team with that. I know you are. I saw your video. You agree with me on that. Like, it just, I'm sorry, it just pisses me off, man. Like, every time like it gets brought up, it's like ripping the scab right back off all over. God, man, I think one of my first videos before I even started doing stuff in 2018, I had said something like that. I'd have to look back. I don't know. I don't look too much on it. Slap says, yeah, the stats are in. Phantom yellows went away the moment stages were introduced. Yeah. I mean, unless, like, there's very few debris cautions I see anymore unless it's needing to spice up something. And it's true. It is. It is clear. Yeah, I'm like having a conversation back and forth. It is obvious what's going on. God. Now I'm gonna be pissed off all night about this, man. All night. Nicholas, thank you for being a member for 6 months. What size are your shirts on Daily Downforce shop? I believe they're small to like 2XL. I'm not sure on the past like 1 or 2XL. But I believe it covers. Hold on, I can look that up right now. We'll do this on the fly. Where in where am I at? There I am. By the way, do check out Daily Downforce. I help out a lot with this channel and with a lot of other YouTubers as well. I saw, I believe, Bloney Burger, NFJJ, and Ellie Productions now are on there. So a lot of good people on there. Let's see. You're like watching basically my on-air production meeting. Where's it at? All right. Come on. I'll have to work on that. I don't see the size on there, so I'll have to let me see. Because if it doesn't have it given right away, I'll make sure that's covered. But I believe it does cover, like I said, those major ones. I agree, Slap. I do love Ellie. He's becoming one of my favorites as well, and especially I gotta say this. Props to Ellie for the. Let me pull up how long it was. But it was like an 7 or 6 hour, 5 hour stream reviewing all those paint schemes. Props to him. I don't know what the longest stream I've ever been a part of was, but Jesus Christ, like I watched the start of that, turned it off for a bit because I was up north with my family, and then started watching. I watched an entire documentary on Netflix, like an entire 5-episode documentary, and still caught like the last, I believe, hour and a half of his stream. That was damn good stuff. I definitely want to get him on. Slap, by the way, since you're watching, at some point we need to get you back on the show this year. And I need to get you to a track that isn't dying as well, like you're going to be taken down. Really quick, I promised you guys I'd do this, and since I am bad at decision making, I'm going to ask you another poll here. Because, again, I cannot make decisions to save my life when they're not overly important. What should I have for dinner tonight? And I'll let you know now, the top option is something I'd just make. The other ones I will, what's it called? Order. Where's the other one? I swear to God, I can't spell to save my life, and I apologize now. All right, what should I have for dinner? Now here's the options: shrimp and veggies, scallops and rice, chipotle, or a chicken wrap. I know it's not the most fun ones, but M. Martin fan for life. Who will be the surprise breakout driver this year? I mean, I talked about Eric Jones a lot earlier, so I think he's somebody to watch. One second. I'm going to go to the list. I mean, thing is, I'm like going through the list of drivers, and I don't really see, like, I don't think anyone from SHR is going to be any good. I have no faith in the colleague side of it. Chris Buescher already was the breakout driver. And I'm just like going down the number list here. I don't see John Hunter. I'm sorry, I don't see John Hunter Nemechek doing anything breakout driver wise. I mean, I don't know, man, because like even Spire doing better. Like I don't think Carson Hocevar or Zane Smith is gonna take over the entire series. So I guess if we're talking about breakout driver, like really, really good and competing a lot more, I think Ty Gibbs, as much as people hate him, like he's a damn good driver. But I think either, maybe Bubba Wallace. I think Bubba Wallace will get multiple wins. Where's the Raising Cane's button? They have not built it yet in Hendersonville. Trust me, they tore down my favorite Mexican restaurant to build it, Eric. Oh, they opened one on Broadway. I don't go to the city. I am not a city dweller, to say the least. Like the closest that I want to be to a city for the most part is like far enough away that within 10 minutes I can be out in the country doing something better than being in a city. I am not a city person. By the way, it's looking like chicken wrap is winning. At least that's good. I don't have to make something tonight. So I'm happy with that. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, I think Bubba Wallace would be somebody, if you're looking for who's going to win more, him or Ty Gibbs, I would say. But God, damn. One second. I'm going to mute myself so you don't have to hear my ugly cough. Okay. But yeah, I think those will be the guys if you're talking about winning. Them or Eric Jones. I see we're having a conversation about Whataburger and Canes. Let's see, Canes needs to set up shop in South Carolina, but that's Zaxby's country. That's the thing. I'm trying to eat more healthy too, so I'm not gonna eat at Canes or probably Zaxby's that much. So, but chicken wrap is taking the lead right now. I feel like this is just gonna lead into the podcast where we're gonna have that meme come back of chicken all over again. Alex for 10. I hope that Kevin Harvick will be like F1 champ James Hunt when it comes to announcing. Do not mince words and call some drivers idiots if they deserve it. I think he will. I don't see them silencing Harvick from valid criticism. I also don't see him being the magic fix for it all. I always thought NBC was decent, not great, but decent from 15 to 17. And when Dale Jr. came in, they went to another level just because of the energy and what he brought in. And he's Dale Jr. Like, you're not going to shut him up if you want to. Same thing with Kevin Harvick. I don't know if Kevin Harvick has that same personality factor to fix Fox. There's I think a lot of issues with the Fox broadcasting. I think that Harvick is a good step past that, though. And I think letting Clint Bowyer actually act like Clint Bowyer and not a meme and joke of Clint Bowyer, that's a big change that would be justified as well. Hunter Nixon Fishing, thank you for the 5. Do you think Kyle Busch can tie or surpass Dale Earnhardt in wins? I think he can get close. What's he at right now? He's in the 50s. So he's like, what, 20 away? Or 20-ish away? I don't know the exact. I have the win list on my phone because, of course, I do. Let's see. He has 63. Okay, 63. So I was a little off on that one. So 14 away. How old is he? Got to be close to 40. Okay, so it's going to be 39 this year. It's realistic. I think it's going to be difficult because if he can't carry RCR year in and year out, I mean, how long do we think Kyle Busch is going to be racing for? Like, is he going to be racing till he's 45? Is he going to be racing for only a couple more years? That's the question. And when you're at, yes, we're not forgetting Chick-fil-A. I had Chick-fil-A last week. I'm trying not to eat the same at every place. But as Kyle Busch gets older, he's not going to be, at least in my opinion, unless he's, even Kevin Harvick showed this, he's not going to be able to carry a team that the equipment alone can't get to victory lane forever. I mean, if he got 2 wins a year for the next 7 years, he would tie Dale Earnhardt. He got 3 last year. I think he's still pretty good for the most part for another 4 or 5 years. I would think he can probably get 2 wins a year. I just don't know, especially after last year and how that team fell off at the end of the year. I don't know if I can consistently say he'd win 2 races a year. I think he's going to have some winless seasons in there. He wants to continue in Cup till his son is at least 16. That's the thing, plans change. I mean, Dale Jr. back in 2011 talked about racing 10 to 15 more years, and he raced 6 more years after. Plans change. Ryan, what are the Vikings doing this offseason, Mr. Iceberg? Same thing they've been doing for 60-some years. They are finding out how to come up just short. In different ways. New creative ways. I'm fine with the higher draft pick. We can at least get higher up before the disappointment happens. Kyle Busch needs to break Gant's record of 53. I mean, if he raced that long, That'd be then he could. I mean, I think it's if I had to give a percentage chance, I'd give it 30. Like plausible, not probable. Do I think Kirk is staying? Probably. Signing Kirk to a 5-year, $300 million deal. Thing is, Kirk ain't the problem, man. Kirk ain't the problem. There's so many problems this team has. I'm on team blow it the fuck up. That's what I'm on the team of. But I think that's about covering it. We got pretty much everything down that we needed to. 20 days. At this time in 20 days, we'll be 6 minutes into season 7 of the podcast. We're gonna end the poll here. Chicken wrap it is. All right. 40%. I'm just 40%, 23, 23. Okay. We're good. Starts at the GM. It's true. It is true, unfortunately. At least we got baseball and NASCAR. But that's probably going to cover it. I am going to go and run 3 or 4 miles, and hope I don't get a shin splint on the treadmill doing that. But thanks for everybody coming out. I appreciate it a ton. Almost at 70K, so that's going to be a lot of fun too. But thank you guys so much for coming out. Can't wait to see you on the 31st and whenever we upload something else. But thank you so much for watching. And until next time, have a good one. Night, y'all.